And you are welcome to the conversation for the nation. This morning, a couple of issues is what will take our attention today. Of course, we'll continue the discussion or our conversation on the president's 10th address he delivered 48 hours ago on Sunday. Of course, there's matters relating with the Electoral Commission and the compilation of the new voters register. The Dankwa Institute has waded in the conversation. We would have loved to speak to the executive director. We are still doing our best to get in touch with him. He's a very busy man. His phone is quite busy this morning, but we are doing our best to speak to Richard Ahiagba to explain the contents or the messages the Dankwa Institute is purported to have made this morning in the various newspapers. And of course, yesterday, the president on his Facebook wall lamented on the increasing spate of racism, systemic racism that is currently unfolding in protest and violence in the U.S. state of Minneapolis, in Minnesota. And of course, he sent out a message assuring the African-American community of Ghana's, support for their cause. So all of these and more are what my guest and I, Padmore Baffour, Agyapong, is already seated around the glass table with a smile. This smile, I don't know whether it's full of punches for the NDC this morning, or he's just feeling good about himself. Good morning, Padmore. How are you?
Good morning,
You look well shaven, though. It's been a while since.
Maybe that's why I'm smiling.
Okay.
Because I think for almost about 3 months now, people have not seen me like this for a while.
Fresh boy.
Yeah. So the fear of COVID is gone.
But still, we are doing our best to maintain the measures. So in that case, we all, including Padmore, we are all adhering to, of course, the anti-COVID-19 measures, which are, of course, we'll have to keep washing our hands regularly with soap and running water, sanitize our hands with hand sanitizers, of course, alcoholic-based hand sanitizers, put on and wear our nose or face mask when we step out of our homes, ensure we are adhering to social distancing, particularly physical distance of about 1 meter or 2. And of course, if all of these fails, let's just stay at home. If we have nothing pressing to do, stay at home and tune in to Net2 TV, or if you're on your social media handles, at Net2 TV GH is the handle of choice. So as this program unrolls, you can also call one to call another. That the dialogue has begun. Right. Padmore, the president 2 days ago lifted some aspects of the restrictions, especially on public gathering. Now, Christians can worship, go to church, but not more than 100 persons per service, and they have to ensure social distancing. Same applies to Muslims and all other faiths across the country. Particularly, very interestingly, sporting activities, pubs, parties, and the rest, social activities are still banned. Funeral activities, private funerals and weddings have had a limited or partial lifting, if I have to put it that way. In all of these, the borders are still closed until 31st July, with final year students, particularly JHS, SHS, and university students, being allowed to get back to school to continue where they left off. What do you have to say about the president's address?
Well,
as you remember, yes, our Cree-speaking folks will be eager to hear you.
Very important. A very good morning to those watching us this morning. President Kasa, nani pa bibli expect saying KBA. Any states need be US, any other European countries need be air chassis, And you be or minor atum, sending an anki nimans and COVID airban. One other year in careful and say numbers in the still na nebe koso.
Okay.
Because I didn't new, na fe na aba. Infections, no, Minyasha so be our Ghana high expect to say, yeah, rate of infection, all of a sudden, a Baffour, a Baffour to some point. OSHA consultations a course at the early stages of last week or early days of last week, I think Monday or Tuesday, and Honorable Safumafo, a senior minister. And my hint is that there were some discussions we are near Koso. By Friday, new guidelines bring near my beba appointing. Didn't probably expect the president to talk over the weekend. Adia Bakwa Mesre Ewo Nensen Kayemu. Especially on your churches. Funeral, about 100 people still observing social distances, which can still be manageable. Okay. But in the church, I have read some churches, their leaders coming out to say they are not in a hurry to open church.
Right.
So young continue situation in Ghana for if so say very safe. Udi nipa 200, nipa 300, nipa 1,000, could go sorry them okay. And then I was a prayer home with nipa 100. And again, a nipa 100, you are looking at a 1-hour service. Technically, we are into church and church activities. You will realize that managing such a situation is not going to be easy. For example, Masoria Meko, full capacity, we can seat over 1,000, 2,500, one sitting.
Right.
1,000, 2,005. Yeah, one service, full capacity. Now, this service now can only host 100 people at a time, and for 1 hour. So what it means is that, say, your first service starts at 7 hours. 7, no? Any part of the send a person will be back. First service 7 o'clock 100 no mako. If you one here you end up at 7 on any part 300 abishia. So 300 ni bishia. Opa person be ntem no ko. 300 nso bishia isi 100 pe. And I bet me ako. And so nipa 300 bidu aso down 7 a. Emu 100 be ko 7 to 8. Na 200 na etwen yo. Now another 100 absorb best no ko bia 8:15 to 9:15. Now another 100 at Nancy train 2 hours 15 minutes before a 1 hour service. Technically, it presenting a lot of difficulties. It is some leaders say no. Yeah, pray at home. We will still go the way near engage members.
The virtual service.
Because laying down of this and is not going to be easy. If, on the other hand, Senanka directive was to say, okay, look at your church auditorium, look at your capacity. For example, we all know the building Bishop Ajanasari has, the dome. The dome can seat, I think, over 15,000 people.
Right.
Now, if you are only allowed to host 100 people in the dome for a service, if you want to even run 24 services, 1 hour on the spot, I mean, you can only have 2,400 people within 24 hours.
Right.
And which pastor will be able to do service for 2,400 people continuously 24 hours? So the churches should not be in a hurry. That is from my perspective. They should not be in a hurry. Unless possibly those smaller churches that they have membership of about 200, 150, and they can comply with the spacing. And say they can have about 70 people, 60 people. It can be manageable because they are full membership, and no so. But the mega churches and the medium-sized churches, I think they should not be in a hurry. They should take their time now.
Right.
Adia Bakwa say Donald Trump kasa about churches no can say we say America, this is the time America need more prayers, not less prayers. I'm sure President feels that this is the time the saints need to gather and pray. That's why I say omu first service krano, omu fa enima omano. But again, yet if you sorry virtual edima omano. Some media houses are taking upon themselves 24-hour services still a bompire edema omano. And the good intention of the president, Sani Beya, and Mianumi and Sabit Miakushia, and Nipa 100 with Miakushia, Nina bit me a swatcher, did not intervene in this situation. But for me, the churches should not, especially the big churches, should not rush this thing out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about the schools?
The schools now, there is no perfect timing than it has come now. Because I'm a SHS. Now we're saying exams this year. Now we're in exams this year. It means to say, oh, but not fear for another 1 year. Is possible to say, bet me hold this school for 1 year. Okay. No doubt about it. You better say, be so be a baby, until say bedroom maybe any baby. I remember when I finished secondary school in the year 1995. Me year secondary school 95. Me go university 2007. I stayed almost 2 years.
Right.
Because around that time, now backlog be but through some demonstrations. Inti emenipa ebetna efie kaka. And it happens, say circumstance with me at school a delay. But your opportunity so now say a certain number be able to me up for fail all the requirements and still pass out through the calendar best. For secondary, this was West Africa Secondary School. Very big compound, very big facility. Let's say on the average, total student population there, say about 4,000.
Okay.
But now we are saying only final years. And I'm sure final years will not be more than, say, 600. So such people, they can be managed easily on campus. Exams. The same goes for GHS4, and the same goes for university. Obi awo final year, why any thesis, why be at the point in the last semester, and COVID comes into you say, on what you know, for another 1 year, the inconvenience and all the doors. And so, another, it's one of the best decisions the president have taken.
Right.
The only thing is that now the school authorities will now have to decide or make decisions on how teaching is going to be like. Because your classroom, now say near 25 and a near woman, one teacher will come at one lesson time, or better nipa 25 idea. No. But because of the size of the classroom now, say be a nipa 15 and a bit me at now. So this teacher now have to teach twice the same course Ebianan could be me the once to be a. So those inconveniences are going to happen to the teachers. But I know they would understand the situation you need normal times. So also sacrifice extra. Now the boy or the boy and mofrana. And I think our teachers have been fantastic.
Right.
Even if you the way we engaging Korani be on WhatsApp platforms, on television, on Zoom, it tells you the heart of a teacher. So the Oman demonstrated already say a calling and they are ready to serve. And I believe strongly that with this directive, Omo best serve am a BBI I perfect.
Right. Okay.
Large gatherings, I support fully. We need not open large gatherings. Sports, political rallies, and the other part of when I know a bit more which is saying pubs, drinking sports, but the dangerous part of it is that also a lot of these places normally live band. So sometimes a live band a promotion and nipa ekoshia hono. It's a mini sports stadium. So when you're careful now And yeah, what not to say?
So to me be without so no free live band and your obenya dom and free live band. I mean you minimize
yeah, what not to say what to talk. Now you say you know smart near the quad. I mean, brothers is just a trivia. Yeah, you say no smart now.
Well said, right? Yeah, but
because you didn't go to say, you go kind no smart, do piano smart, but now after bottle no track, I cannot see what no smart. I mean, the inconvenience of it. I dissociate myself from that. And you know, now, so I mean, at the appropriate time, I know, sir, where God is leading science and a vaccine will come soon.
But with sports, on the issue of sports, some of the football teams almost clamor for, almost say they've been inactive for a long while. They are still paying their footballers. You know, with the footballers, ABI has say, maybe a fantastic player be Tiane on Yeshio Kotokoso I the player. The season is, you don't know whether it's on recess or it's over. By the time you realize the player is training with, you know, Kotoko and all those things. So certainty or uncertainty is rather causing their headaches.
I understand them perfectly. But also, I say, you know, some of the major European leagues, you know, almost I started. Now, almost Bobono under empty stadium.
Right.
Because fans want to me and control fans when it comes to passion. And you say footballers now, Kasaya test you when say footballers now there will be a positive. The footballers on the field a bit may interact at the Omagro. But in Nipa intimate, it is possibly the GFA and government can look into that.
But on that note, and let me share newspapers at the back page of the Ghanaian Times on page 23. There is a report by Michael Abayate, Ose. Non-contact sports, including athletics, badminton, and golf, can restart their respective training sessions and other activities, the National Sports Authority has directed. The move was in line with presidential directives issued on Sunday, giving exemptions to non-contact sports to go ahead without spectators. Other disciplines that have received a go-ahead to start practicing include table tennis, powerlifting, weightlifting, cycling, and drafts. The rest are parasports, rowing and canoeing, baseball, softball, horse racing, squash, as well as individual exercising in the stadium.
Well, my only issue will be with drafts. I'm not sure how the social distancing space will be observed when draft is in front of two people.
Okay, on
that sense, it could be done. But if the normal way we all know where we place it on our laps and then we interact.
Oh, I guess when it gets to competition proper, it's no more on the laps. Okay, there's a setup for it.
Then that is okay. Then that is good. So non-contact sport is okay because the risk is already about 95% reduced.
Right.
Because already, if we are playing table tennis, ping pong, you are the other side, I'm at the other side. There's no way we will come into contact. Lawn tennis.
Unless the ball, of course.
Unless the ball.
When you're serving.
Even that.
Unless you sanitize the ball every time you
most often, then you need to be doing that. I mean, in most often. Right. Because you are not so sure whether the person has sneezed or coughed in the hand and is holding and all those.
So you know, when you're sweating, you quickly wipe, you want to serve, you know,
you are breathing, you are doing all those.
Can happen.
So, I mean, let's not rush things out
into that.
If you ask me.
But in that conversation, the National Democratic Congress has waded into that conversation after the president lifted or reviewed the impositions or restrictions. And on page 10 of the same newspaper, Ghanaian Times, there's a headline which says, easing of restrictions not in interest of nation, NDC. And I'll take your permission to read a few of the paragraphs. It says, the National Democratic Congress has alleged that the easing of restrictions on public gatherings was intended to pave the way for the Electoral Commission to embark on its new voters registration agenda. According to the NDC, the easing of restrictions was not in the interest of the nation, but rather was motivated by the president's parochial political interest. The National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, made the allegation yesterday at the NDC's press briefing in Accra. He said the NIA and the EC had been given the freedom to register an unlimited number of people from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., while religious bodies such as churches and mosques were expected to meet for an hour with not more than 100 people in attendance. He noted that the partial reopening of schools, churches, and mosques was only a trick to the president's main agenda, and indicated that the NDC shall employ every legitimate means to stop the EC's attempt to foist a needless and wasteful voters register that is intended to disenfranchise millions of eligible voters, mostly in NDC strongholds on Ghanaians. So, say now, conversation now, Danny.
So, which he and some say our own. And Pembe no, say, what the propaganda is see when it's it takes your reasoning away. And I'm sorry if I am harsh on the gentleman.
I didn't hear propaganda.
Because, and some now can it tells me he's not reasoning.
Okay. Tell us why he's not reasoning.
He's not reasoning. Why would you say, unya ketwa obetre exams or tifi? A ko be school. A bear money to coin say uncle train so her new school. Send your bill between at school so send your man and normalize ya. Say, they are in the interest of the nation. And what student, you know? What is he saying? Oh, it's because I clouded my mind with the voter register. And you know, seriously, Bibi Obi Beke Biano and Mwawoma. The Obi Beye Biano, the Aquasha voter register. BBI easy. BBI NIA. I don't know what is wrong with the NDC. And then the affair, let's assume the EC through this will have the opportunity to carry on with the voter registration. What is wrong? Voter registration and some phone and I Ghana for. I have said
as a president Nikan said these directives exclude the National Identification Authority and the Electoral Commission.
And even the comparison of the churches and mosques with the EC's sorry. Does the EC call people to come and congregate? Now, onya sorry in or the EC's registration process says that me am sorry anopa na mako akodila so na mako chimdi na mikomifi. Where is this? Where is all this confusion? Also, my imagine say register back na Supreme Court aka ho asem da say yen clean any munye enima uma yen nyina Ghana fo nyina gitum say problem wo ho no. NDC for now it's through say be new register. Because omunim niema omuye old register nim. Those days na no more National Health Insurance card, MMA foreigners, Malians, Nigerian, Togolese, no asisa momo say omunko no mfa nko retro mudin wo Ghana voter registration book. Supreme Court ruling say there be yentime nje NIA National Health Insurance card enye no. Now they are shocked. So me Ghana ni na EC say mini national identification card, mini passport. Nemom Madam fu bia onim say me Ghana ni ti obetimi ni mako akokan say yes nipa we media ginam so Ghana ni munhwe ni din. What is wrong with the process? So uti o maso mo kana and yes we need passport, yes we need national health insurance and no national ID card untimi nhwe wudi. And there is this nasty propaganda that goes on this TV station, SYZ. Over here, no maba, Ashanti region. Yes, a nipa be 2 million or nipa be 500,000. And no muyisu national health insurance. Editor umudin say MPP up to MPP aban say obeyi say nipa 500 free. Omumu entro umudin yakwa into aba. What nonsense is this? Is that what the EC guidelines is saying? The misinformation is becoming too many. And the problem is that, since Akwa said, I buy and enforce discipline. So how can a whole media house do this because of propaganda and misinform people? Say MPP for say, Omu Yisango for the idea film, Omu Mumuncho Mudimbio. And MPP can't answer. I think the Electoral Commission can't answer.
Say when you now can hold a Dankwa Institute and now hold the press conference, Executive Director Richard Dahiagba or can say, easy so was so decisive with their mandate, BBA. Diagro, especially in public in PR, information, name messages, be what and
I agree, sir. Easy, no.
Can pay cry per se Dankwa Institute for Casa now. We are still working on that.
Me jitum say omo a bit slow kaka in omo communication, omo engagement. But the EC chair unequivocally have said, sir, the voter registration will be done. The exercise will be undertaken. It will be carried out. What can? A day now, MPP for Afarijan decided to obey voter register. Those are the MPP opposition. They're MPP for Anka. And then MPP for Anya. But the constitution, Emma Afarijan to me say, Anya. Afarijan, a new voters register, BBC Ogana. I didn't see it. Nothing happened. It is so for me where NDC for problem not a free bar. And again, if the EC decides to say voter registration, we will do it and nothing will happen in Ghana. There also a Bema or what guts, excuse my French, what boss say EC register or because EC Yamano, EC start here on there. Who said? Yama nipa ama eluku se o man obi asori obetumi ade opeso na okotina radio so na okọ kan ne boso asem na okọ Bernard Bona na okotina ba bi na okọ afi jan or play issue of words and semantics. So I said say you could register. What nonsense is this?
Say Ghana
you
police
call yourself a political leader, a chairman of a political party, because what am I certain political party? Because
but that's an unfair statement. No. He sold his conscience.
He has sold it, and I'm not the one saying it. Everything I'm saying, say me and I make and you have no problem because they give me evidence. But Sekou Nkrumah says that this guy Bernard Bona took him.
I said Sekou Nkrumah, you're wrong, then you're also repeating the wrong thing.
Sekou is not wrong.
Okay.
I listened to Bernard Bona in an interview on UTV. I said, "Hey, no cry only the Vilante Koeno or Jessica." Name Wanko Jessica or the Vilante was or the ton or Bribono. Or Jessica because they know say the Vilante was more like a philanthropist or Wanko for Bibri, even the cow which got the Vilante the Tomana.
A pie and Tomuko Geomodia.
On one being in Kaya, men and I'm not maker. So such a person, what was Jinima way in area, who's over to be on have a Casati NDC? Where NDC need a tonica mano, where NDC need my disca, where offer CPP need, as a uncle Jessica when NDC need no. Even that time, not Sekou joined NDC, but Sekou was critical of the Professor Mills administration, and they wanted to shut him. Bernard Bona was the one who led that corrupt practice, Uncle Bribe. So if such a person be no be can sama one you put here. What turn happening the NDC? So bibi obey bia. Could it be so Okasa we on one general secretary was the one who called on the police to pick the chairman?
Well,
why?
Maybe there could be internal,
it's not internal, but what he did,
friction.
Within the statements he made were reckless, were unfortunate, and irresponsible to have come from a party chairman. Very irresponsible.
Right.
But I said, it's under MPP, and because we want the rule of law to prevail, and this is for any freedom, I said, because MPP believes in the law. Into quite no church and I didn't no casa free because and freedom of speech. But again, I am hoping, say, the media, journalists will now start educating themselves so much that So Uba now will be try. The host who is hosting the program will put you, and that is why Sammy Jemfi always have issues with a lot of hosts in this country. He's fighting Sefakai, he's fighting Obi, he's fighting any other person who wants to point that what you are saying is not the truth. Then he takes offense, he starts attacking them, he starts to insult them. And that is the mantra of the NDC. Go and lie. If they catch you, insist on the lie, attack them.
How do you know their strategy?
Oh, I mean, NDC, for now, Obi knew how the NDC operator. Now,
Right.
And that is why when it happened to themselves, so MPP, NDC for look at the things they say about themselves. Because it's more like they are taught how to do it. So when it comes to applying it to themselves, it becomes nasty.
Right.
How can you say this? The president do not have the interest of the nation? Tina, we're easy. What? Sometimes, and I sympathize with the church very much. Because I have friends who are employed by the church. Right?
Right.
The church employs people, pay their social security, they pay their income taxes. So if the church, one way or the other,
of people,
one way or the other, it's not getting money, how do they pay these people? And they have families. And the church that is not meeting, donations are not coming. How do they pay all these people? And how do these people feed their families?
Right.
And if in the wisdom, if the president even want to think about something that will gradually ease this year, and now we said the church and the economic hardship now COVID, but I saw you in Philippi.
Yeah.
People think that the church does not feel it, but it's a lie. The church, like any other organization, is also an employer. It employs. So our members, our employees, now also difficult in TNT, and some other issues, and you sit and you say, he does not have the interest of the nation at heart. It's a president in your day, or president in your day. Okay, say we don't do solution, no person in your day. And that is how hollow the NDC is. They have nothing to offer.
Right.
Just bag. Okay, say we don't quite say, name pay analysis, the encounter, you say, Nagana phone say,
someone say the restrictions, so the lockdown, when we say we weren't supposed to lift the ban on the lockdown. So for them, we should have still been in a lockdown situation.
Why these guys are evil?
Oh, I didn't.
And I'm sorry if I to use that word. These are the same people who, under lockdown, partial lockdown, came out and accused MPP and Akufo-Addo say economy no essay. Didn't NDC under partial lockdown come out and no more country Ghana for you say Akufo-Addo economy na oguno no economy ni say we need the economy ni conform because activities in the economy no are buying at the embargo etoso.
Right.
And on the major areas, Accra, Tema, Kumasi. So Accra, Tema, Kumasi ceases to function. Do you know the economic implications of Ghana economy? So, and these same people use it against the president. Partial lockdown was lifted. People now got back, and kakra businesses you again turn around and say wasn't locking. Now, evil intention, I'll bet you.
Right. So these are the comments of my guest around the glass table this morning. Padmore, Agyapong, of course, we've been discussing the president's 10th address on updates on anti-COVID measures. And of course, we've discussed some of the things, and he shared his comments, opinion, and views. What have you got to say? We are waiting for your comments, views, and opinion. You can send them via social media handles at Net2TV. If you have come in, let me try and share them. Oil Dove says, ironically, those clamoring that the register couldn't be changed are the ones planning to rig the elections. And Joyce Jumo says, good morning to the team, Kencity Media. Please download the full video of yesterday's seat. Some of us didn't get it on all the social media platforms. So I guess there's a clamor for yesterday's episode for the seat program. Some are saying they didn't see it on the social media platforms. But I've been told and I'm assured it is there right now. So for those who missed it, the production team is assuring you that check again. Today it is there. You can watch it as many times as you want. So keep your views and opinion coming at Net2 TV GH. Alternatively, 0240550899 are WhatsApp messages. In about, let's say, 22 minutes, we'll be activating the phone calls where we can hear you live when we go interactive. Now, let's go to the next part of our story. We wanted to have a chat with the Executive Director for the Dankwa Institute, but I guess he's still being problematic reaching him. But we'll continue with the conversation nevertheless. Yesterday, the President on his Facebook wall sent out a message of solidarity, if I have to put it mildly, to the African-American community, or more United States. I mean, last week, exactly a week ago, we woke up to this gruesome killing of George Floyd, a black man who was arrested by 4 white policemen, and in less than 10 minutes, he was dead with the policeman's knee on his neck, taking on an ambulance on a stretcher. He was just a late person on the stretcher. It was a disheartening video, I mean, for all those who watched it. And the uprising, the protest and the unrest going on in America, it looks like our president couldn't have kept quiet anymore, and he had to make a Facebook pronouncement. What do you think of this? Are we not minding our own business? Did the president really have to send this message to the African community in solidarity with their hassle?
Well, you can never keep quiet in situations like this and say
because you're African president, yeah, African president, yeah.
Why Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa, should stand up and rise against this thing? Gotcha. The reason being that blacks ye kumo ye desa nyema yomu omu free hin eko omu ye nananom ye be fa omu free Ghana.
And what you're saying, just last year we celebrated the year of return,
exactly,
which is in commemoration of the first set of African slaves taken from our shores to Jamestown in Virginia, in US. So it's like an anticlimax to everything the president sought to do last year.
So they are part of us, we are part of them. We have that ancestral bond. And
okay.
And whatever is happening in America now, and I want people to listen, not only in America, in the developed world, they still have that white supremacy thing at the back of their head. They think that the white is superior to any other race. They are not even white, but we call them white. They are superior to any other race. Obibia would see me be after watching this program, Uncle Google or YouTube. Now on type the doll test. Doll, Chobi. Yeah, the doll test. Now her researcher, it prove clearly say children are umususa ewa abrochire, especially white children. Ye wo omu no munyina de show mutrim ne say tuntum nipa tuntum nipa bonefo. Nipa tuntum adwene pani ni tirim. Nipa tuntum ye violent. Nipa tuntum ye evil. And you know, racism not starts from say nkodano ketwana anti odinyini.
I say Africans cry ye maya believe say nipa na the situation to obeje kwano is through a white Jesus Christ. That is also part of the narrative.
The misconception is that Jesus Christ was never white.
But that's like the doll test.
Exactly.
Similarly
if you look at the region Jesus Christ came from, that region, they are not white. there are blacks and there are other colors that you can get, but omonye white. But the misconception when this thing started with President Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's first brother, then president, more or less now aligned so much with Martin Luther Money idea on the fight for freedom, in the discrimination 60s. In the 60s. And he stood up for. By that time, his brother Bob Kennedy was the Attorney General. And if you look at American history, the kind of laws Robert Kennedy and his brother John Kennedy wrote and then revised and eliminated from the statutes in the US, it will shock you. You know the Alabama incident where 2 black people got admission to go into the university. The governor of the state, Ebejina Hokan, said, or no governor will never allow those 2 people to enter the university.
Right.
Bob Kennedy and John Kennedy instructed the head of the army, the general, and almost secretary Bako, to go and tell the governor, say he should leave the entrance of the university for those students to enter. And that was the first time black people had the opportunity to go to university. The governor stood there and on public TV told everybody he refuses and rejects what the president is saying, and he's not going to allow those 2 students to enter. And when Bob Kennedy, then Attorney General, offered the army commander and security clearance and said, now it is beyond us, so do what you need to do. Then the army, now, at that instant now, refused to question, went straight to the governor and told them, then we are sorry, we have to do what we have to do. It was there and then the governor backed out and they opened the door, and how beautifully those 2 students entered.
So the threat of violence works, or the threat of, well, Kakashi works.
That was what paved the way. But again, don't forget Martin Luther and then all the other guys, Marco M. So they were all peacefully championing that discrimination should stop. When Kennedy was murdered, and then his vice took over, in the next election after his vice, that was where Bob Kennedy, who was then the Attorney General, John, decided to also now run for the presidency. And there was no doubt nothing was going to stop Robert Kennedy from becoming the next president of the United States. But unfortunately, he too was murdered. And you know why? All because they felt the Kennedys were aligning so much with the minority, and especially the black.
Right.
Empowering them, helping them out, trying to make sure that the black guys get equal treatment to all the whites. They killed him also.
It seems like a lost cause today, isn't it?
So look at what happened in the 60s.
Replaying 2020.
Now, 2020, still replaying.
That's what the president said in his message. 21st century, America can still be dealing with systemic racism in the 21st century.
It is painful. That America that is touted as the oldest whatever in democracy and all those.
The bastion of democracy.
At this time, the actions or inactions of 4 police officers
right,
has now caused the emergency situation that has been declared in the USA. Just 4 police officers failing to go against racism, deciding in broad daylight to murder.
You call that murder?
Oh yeah, but Chauvin, the police officer, has been charged with 3rd-degree murder. So
okay.
It's murder.
All right. Let me, for the benefit of our viewers, let me just read the full message as put by the president on his social media wall. Black people the world over are shocked and distraught by the killing of an unarmed black man, George Floyd, by a white police officer in the United States of America. it carried with it an all too painful familiarity and an ugly reminder. It cannot be right that in the 21st century, the United States, this great bastion of democracy, continues to grapple with the problem of systemic racism. On behalf of the people of Ghana, I express my deep condolences to the family and loved ones of the late George Floyd. We stand with our kith and kin in America in these difficult and trying times, and we hope that the unfortunate, tragic death of George Floyd will inspire a lasting change in how America confronts head-on the problems of hate and racism.
And I agree with the president totally. This is a nation where the immediate past president was an African American.
Right.
Typically African American. Just left the seat, becoming the #1 most powerful man in the world. And yet, we could still see these things go on in America.
So that means the hassles of Martin Luther King Jr., the hassles of Malcolm X, all those black, the liberation icons, seems to be, according to some school of thoughts in sociology, the youth of today seem to have shifted from the days of the 60s, because they are realizing, look, in the last 5 years, so many black people have been killed. Someone just walking in the neighborhood believed to be mainly populated by white people, you'll be harassed. Yeah. Some are killed just by passing through the neighborhood. They can't come to terms that these things happened in the 60s and they are still happening in the 21st century. So, you know what, like your language, excuse your language, let's put away the 60s style of doing things and let's, deal with it, the kind of language the right-wingers will understand. They would understand. But maybe that's the wrong call, maybe.
I am happy. An incident happened in Minnesota after George Floyd died. One of the very first shops that was burnt belonged to a family that came from Bangladesh and settled in the USA.
That was quite next to the third precinct police station.
Next to the third precinct police station. Almost sorry, Anopa, Papa Neneba, almost sorry, and Ija, Atoma di Mashi. Asama Papa Neba or buy a Baffour when we had the tea said, ne Papa a casa or phone so I said, Omasuna Omonshano, a dino, you bet me si dino, but Nipana Wuno, Yintimin Fadim Baby. Emma Abofrano. I said that I met Papa cancer same way. Also, Papa say we have had enough and it's about time. And Emma black community Nekasan almost say shops like Walmart, like Target, like whatever that they have, they should be joining them in the demonstration. They should be joining them. Also, and yet that peaceful demonstration. But if you close or you keep a blind eye, say, then possibly some of these things will happen. Yesterday, I watched a beautiful video, the best of all the videos in the U.S. racial crisis so far.
Right.
A sheriff in a county, when protesters got to his end, he had arranged his police, all with their batons and their gear. Then the protesters approached them. So the sheriff went to them, trying to listen to them. So once they were conversing, the protesters now started demanding of the sheriff, walk with us, walk with us, walk with us. Then the sheriff ordered all the other police guys in his unit. They put all their batons down and they joined the people and they walked. At the end, the sheriff did make a statement or say, Yadi Yahuko Bo, Oma, and no Munina Nantiano. Glass Bakokram by shop Bakukran way attacking, a Nipa Bakukran way arresting. It was the most peaceful demonstration so far. So he, as the sheriff, was now calling on the American Police Department, the highest level, that they should rather join the protesters on the street than to form or let the protesters know that they are ready to attack them and all those.
At least adopt a different strategy rather than the confrontational.
The confrontation won't help. They are already in grief. People are angry. And the more you display that show.
And when you see some of the actions by some police personnel, even after the murder, when we say police cars be crying, trying to bulldoze their way through crowds.
Another typical example.
Are these police, American police, are they okay?
Another typical example why blacks are not violent but are peaceful happened in New York. Police ni bako. The police for form protective and he lost the group. It was very isolated. White police guy. And I was share. Enipa bebeba omu hono anko mbetimi akọ police ni so akọto ahye ne so aye ne bibi no na black guys na bi about there 12 of them omu so omu nsa kika omu nsa bom and omu ye kanko efa police ni no. So they protected the police officer because no nim say anhwe ya omu ja omu ankofo beba be attack no. These same black people now omu so omu ye violent no now form a hedge and omu protect no. And it was so beautiful picture if you look at it and the story. So the misconception, and it's unfortunate the statement from the #1 gentleman in the US. Very unfortunate. So uncalled for. And I wish that one day President Trump will acknowledge in his heart that sometimes he voicing out has been worse than shutting up.
You reckon?
The first statement to make here was said, if the looting starts, the shooting starts. You know what that means? I know recent one when some senators and as some can say, only a 2 week, they should face the demonstrators head on. How can you say that? So the principles of the Kennedys, the principles of the Clintons, the principles of the Obamas, can't he read history and shadow? Donald Trump is over 70 years.
Right.
He's a grandfather. He lived to witness what happened the days of Martin Luther King. So what is going on? What is going on? Much. Bible can say, to whom much is given, much is expected.
We'll come back to talk about, especially the president's response in the midst of, some will say, do you fear them? Others are saying, where are the African leaders? Where are the voices of African leaders? If it was loans and begging for money by now, they will be queuing up to the White House. But when they have to stand up for our kith and kin, it's only the short man being the loudest. But we'll take a quick short break. When we come back, we'll be talking more about the president's Facebook message. But before we do that, let's go interactive. And what is Ahmed Kwachi saying on YouTube? He says, hi, panelists. We black people should start manufacturing at least most of medicines and foods we eat. It will go a long way to champion our respect we deserved. Watching you live from London. Victor Isiedu Young says, please, someone should inform our president to be on his guard, especially when traveling to the US and some parts of Europe. The white people don't want black people to prosper, Victor Young. He comes back to say, let's not forget that Martin Luther King Jr. was murdered just few months after his second visit to Ghana. He was preaching peace. Okay, on issues in Ghana, Victor Asiedu Young also writes, Oil Dove, you are right. NDC told Ghanaians that the EC is autonomous and therefore should not nobody could dictate to them. Mahama said in 2015 that the EC should be left alone to do their job. Right. So these are some of the messages that you have sent. Please keep them coming. Keep more of them coming. Your opinion and your views also matter. When we come back, we'll be taking more of your messages, some of your phone calls, and of course, we'll be opening the window of birthdays. We will be right back after this break. To the dialogue. Of course, you are watching Net2 television. This is the conversation for the nation. Padmore Agyapong, who is my guest, we're talking about a couple of issues before we went for the break. We started off with the president's address easing restrictions on Ghana in curbing the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've also discussed the EC and issues relating to the voters register. We touched briefly on that. And currently we are on the president's Facebook message to Americans of color in the diaspora. Just before I went for the break, I took some messages, but for the benefit of those who joined us, let me once again read the president's Facebook message. Black people the world over are shocked and distraught by the killing of an unarmed black man, George Floyd, by a white police officer in the United States of America. It carried with it an all too painful familiarity and an ugly reminder. It cannot be right that in the 21st century, the United States, this great bastion of democracy, continues to grapple with the problem of systemic racism. On behalf of the people of Ghana, I express my deep condolences to the family and loved ones of the late George Floyd. We stand with our kith and kin in America in these difficult and trying times, and we hope that the unfortunate tragic death of George Floyd will inspire a long-lasting change in how America confronts head-on the problems of hate and racism. Padmore, in some way I be from the African leadership and in most crises around the world that involve individual liberties. It looks like, oh, yeah, content with the whole world knows we are poor, so let's mind our own poor business. But the president seems to be, going against the narrative. Is this the right thing to do?
I made president or can be on cry maternity because my cancer tuntum for a war abroach. Dodona, a fancy be almost free Jamaica, almost free Haiti. But Omunina free Yanya Pontemha, almost free Ghana, almost free Nigeria, almost free Cote d'Ivoire, almost free Liberia, almost free Anaqua. What is a Liberia for? A demonstration, Eco American Embassy, or Liberia. They did it.
And so Ghanaians, some group of Ghanaians also demonstrated.
Because some can say at 2 Omo only the number of Ghana for
the US.
Number of Africans at US. And it's obviously any other year onion national to say George Floyd boy and the 2 Oma. Okay, asempa. But the US system is saying that the moment police need be black man, they say it say, oh yeah, drugs or a 2 weapons near maybe or one we in Pabonini.
Something has to be wrong with.
Oh yeah, there was a PBB at the yo.
Okay, maybe but let me now just activate the phone line 0240-550-899. So we are now getting interactive. Those of you who want to share your thoughts, I know some of you are emotional about these incidents that's unfolding in the US. So, well, you can vent out your frustration right here on our social media handles as well. At Net2 TV, GH, and our phones are now activated. You can still send messages via our WhatsApp number. Padmore.
Yeah. And baby, Bruno, I was a by now, Germany, in its words of Nazi, and Nema Hitler, Germany has tried as much as possible. But anybody should say, within this century, and some will be back for America. Okay. Not America.
Not America, no. Just like the president said. Let's go to the phone lines and see who we have as our first caller for today. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my name is Abdul. I'm calling from John Pay.
Okay, my brother, what's on your mind this morning?
Yes, well, I would just have to share my opinion to Mr. Padmore over there. I really enjoy his issue, and the president's address was also interesting. And what I would say is that this black Africans being killed in America, it's not only in America, it's everywhere. But you just don't have to kill someone because maybe even if you find any ambition or even something bad wrong with the person or something, you just don't have to pretend and as if we didn't hear the person shouting, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. You see, you should have, if you are even human, you should have some feeling in you that you are hurting a human. You understand? Even, I'm even short of words. Understand? And I really appreciate your host and everything. And thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, my brother. I know it's, you could get stuck in emotions when you think about the way the whole killing evolved from a man who wasn't resisting any form of arrest, as we saw in the video, to a man who you can literally see the life leaving his body. Anyway, 0240-550-899 is the number. It looks like we have another caller on in the works. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, 0240-550-899. We've been talking about some issues, including the protests and violence erupting in America as we speak. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
Can we have your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Stephen. I'm calling from Ashaiman.
Stephen from Ashaiman. Let's hear you.
Yeah. Well, it's very painful, eh?
Right.
Looking at the way black people are being treated all over the world. So what I would say is that we the blacks must think for ourselves and unite against the whole world. Because the way a manner we are being treated, even in our own country, is not the best. Even outside the world, it's not the best. So I'm even shocked that an American can do such a thing to a black man. They should also not forget that we built their country for them. And now they are enjoying because we've been able to build their country for them. And then they are trying to, as much as possible, to kill us. If you go back to history, 400 years ago, they came here to pick us to their place, and we built that country for them. So for me, what I would say is that we should unite within ourselves and fight against them. Not something like killing them, but we should also upgrade ourselves or to learn so that we can manufacture things for ourselves. So the time will come, we will not go there for ends meet or to go there money. This should also tell our leaders that they should try as much as possible a new country, a better country for all of us. So that time will come, we will not travel to that country again. Seriously, it is very painful. When I watch the video, I always cry. But let's leave everything to God. And I'm saying that God is in control. And to my president, seriously, I agree with this statement. That this statement should have come as early as possible. Because even more than 4 days or 5 days now since the guy died. And he's now releasing a statement. What I want to advise is that next time, immediately such a thing happens, he should release his statement for us to give him the total support that we gave him for the past 4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother Stephen. Thank you very, very, very much, Stephen. And we appreciate what you have, your opinion that you just laid out today. We are still taking your phone call, 0240-550-899. We have a ghost in the studio. We'll find out later and soon. I think I have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Very good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Can we have your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mensa and I'm calling from Takrady.
Mensa from Takrady, what's on your mind this Tuesday?
I really applaud you guys for this for your host, what you're discussing today.
Thank you.
I've been in the U.S. several times, and it's a pity when you see our fellow blacks what they go through every day. But the first thing about we blacks is none of our leaders do support us when we are in trouble. The fact that our African leaders cannot stand up and confront this evil act of the whites against us make us look so weak before the other races all over the world. In every country that you go to, wherever the blacks are, you see poverty, you see them being maltreated, you see them being treated as animals. If this thing, what happened now is just one of thousands that is happening in America. We know, and everybody knows that all the African Americans came from Africa. And we, the Africans, cannot even demonstrate to show the world that they are part of us. They are brothers and sisters. So we sit down and look at what is happening in the world, while countries that don't even have blood like New Zealand, they are demonstrating. And our leaders are sitting here and saying nothing. It's a pity. I don't know what kind of leaders in Africa. If this thing should have happened to an Arab or other race, you will see what will happen in the world. They won't even dare to try this on Arabs. They won't even dare to try this on an Indian. They won't even dare to try this on other race. But our leaders are so weak that they can't even voice up. And we don't know what to do now.
I can understand your frustration, my brother. I can understand your frustration and your anger, but we are thankful for your call. We'll take one last caller before we activate our, okay, I think that brings us to the end of our interactive session. We'll now be opening the window for birthdays and see those who are celebrating their birthdays. But before then, let's still take some of your messages which is coming in. Please say hi to Honorable Kencity Agyapong and the entire Net2 TV crew. You guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good spirit. Greetings to you, okay, and Honorable Padmore for informing us. This one says, it's strange to note how Africa is being quiet about the heinous crimes being committed by those 4 U.S. policemen by killing George Floyd. I believe that blacks in America should take advantage of President Akufo-Addo's year of return and come back home where they belong. Well, like we're saying, as if the president had an intuition that this will happen, because the whole year of return concept was to commemorate the first batch of Africans leaving the shores of Africa and arriving in Jamestown in Virginia. Some 400 years ago, of course. So the whole year of return was to, reverse the situation or reverse that phenomenon and see maybe the backward trend of seeing our brothers coming back home. So I guess the call by the president in his Facebook address, for me, in my opinion, is apt. We have a few minutes to wind down the show, but I'll leave that few minutes to Padmore. Yeah. Looks like people are really angry and frustrated.
It's very unfortunate to witness some of these things in our current dispensation.
Right.
I mean, some of us read about the struggle, about racial discrimination, but for us to witness it in our time still, then it means that we still have a long way to go.
Right. Thank you very much. And these were just the short words of Padmore Agyapong. He was our guest round the glass table this morning. What a terrific Tuesday it has been, and it's our pleasure from us all, the production team, to you. We say thank you for making a date with us. Tomorrow, make the same kind of time for us as we bring you the conversation with the nation. Don't go nowhere. As you know, Yamofa will be coming your way shortly with a look at the national agenda.